The most profound thing I learned at the Mona School of Business and Management is how to work with people who have diverse views after looking at the same information.
I would say emotional intelligence as a concept and its importance in leadership.
The importance of team and how that can really and truly, shape the outcome of your life, your business.
The leadership, that was a pivot for my taking off to where I am today.
I've found that when you do your current job well, people will see and recommend you, and you yourself will gain confidence in how you perform.
I think it's very important to work hard. It's critical in creating an atmosphere of wholesomeness.
I feel that Mona School of Business and Management is the top management training institution in the region.
Just straight excellence.
So I'd recommend the Mona School of Business and Management, both for undergraduate and postgraduate studies.
You are going to be impacted positively.
It worked for me.
Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome from all of us here at MSBM to this, our graduate programs orientation session for the academic year 2021-2022. We also extend our heartiest congratulations on your admission to pursue a graduate degree program. At MSBM, we believe that your decision to pursue graduate studies, a graduate management degree in particular, will be among the most critical of your career choices. And we thank you for choosing MSBM, as we do not take that for granted. At MSBM, we believe that education transforms lives. We take great pride in providing an excellent learning environment, ably supported by excellent faculty, and a caring group of coordinators and other administrators who work together to engineer courses and activities and to provide services that are designed to maximize the likelihood that you will attain your goals and your aspirations. All of our graduate programs aim to develop strategic critical thinkers with key managerial skills and capabilities, and we look forward to accompanying you on your journey towards success. At today's session, you will get information on our various programs. You'll have your questions answered. You will meet some of our administrators and faculty members and alumni. We'll provide critical information regarding the university's regulations for graduate studies, and we will provide details about your financial obligations. So welcome again. Thank you for being online. We ask you to hit that subscribe button so that you can always know when we are online with various sessions and programs. We ask you to follow us on our social media platforms. And so without further ado, let me just welcome you again to today's session and to the MSBM family. At this point, I will invite our Executive Director, Dr. David McBean, who will come and give his own greetings to you and also introduce you to other members of the MSBM team. Dr. McBean.
Thank you very much, Janice, and to our staff and the support persons. Thanks for putting this on, but most of all to the new students, welcome to MSBM. And as I wait for a presentation to be brought up, thank you. This is something that we do every year, but it is the second year that we're doing it virtually, and I believe speaks to how we are being forced to go in the future. So a big hearty welcome to you all. At MSBM, we have a full team dedicated to supporting you, and I'd like to go through the members. And MSBM is both an academic unit and a company, but don't worry too much about it. That will become clearer as we go through this presentation. So Dr. Lila Rao Graham is one of our 2 deputy executive directors, and she's in charge of the MBA programs, MBM, the diploma programs, and the DBA programs. Dr. Andrew Spencer is the other deputy executive director in charge of the undergraduate programs. Dr. Indiana Minter-Coy, and we must apologize for her unavoidable absence, is the academic director of the MSc programs. So the 2 academic directors for your programs directly for the master's programs here will be the MBA, Dr. Lila Graham, and the MSc is Dr. Indiana Minter-Coy. Dr. Franklin Johnson is the director of the Professional Services Unit, and that unit does executive education, short courses, and consulting. Dr. Maurice McNaughton is the director, Center of Excellence and Innovation, and they're primarily focused on research and also manage our IT infrastructure. Miss Janice Henlin, who did the introductions and the welcome, is our director of marketing. Miss Merlin Reed, very important person, is our director of finance. And then we come to our unit heads. And MSBM is organized in units for the academic programs, both undergraduate and postgraduate. So Ms. Shirley Ann Eaton is the unit head finance and accounting. And so, for example, corporate finance and MSc accounting would fall under her. We have Dr. Noel Cowell, he's a unit head for behavioral sciences and general management. Dr. Charlotte Donalds is the unit head of decision sciences and information systems. And the other 2 units are split dual representation. So let me go back. Dr. Andrew Spencer, it looks over tourism and marketing as well. And Dr. Indiana Minter-Coy looks out over strategy and entrepreneurship and international business. Peter Morris is the Human Resource and Admin Manager. And then at MSBM, we have a unique innovation among business schools where we have executives in residence, where these are prominent private sector leaders who, after having a brilliant career, come to MSBM to form the bridges between ourselves and the community. And we're fortunate to have Harry Smith, who is currently the chairman of Digicel, but is a well-renowned marketer and would have been known for, among things, his stellar work at Red Stripe and also Digicel. James Solomon has held a number of executive positions at the Grace Kennedy Group, and he is our other executive in residence. So that is the management team, and you can put the names to faces, and that's who takes care of charting the course for MSBM, both academically and on the company side. We also have, and you will see to the right, coordinators, and I'll just run through quickly. For the MBAs, we have Carol Wedderburn White, Ingrid Nelson, Petrian Watson, Sandra Marsh, and Sharona Brown. For the MSc Accounting and the MSc Marketing and Data Analytics, Nadia Tracy. For the MSc Computer-Based Management Information Systems and the MSc National Security and Strategic Studies, Sandra Broomfield. MSc Enterprise Risk Management is Maxine Letman Hall. And the MSc Corporate Finance and Logistics and Supply Chain Management is Terence Campbell. So this is a team that the coordinators you will interface most directly with. They will be responsible for organizing a lot of the logistics around your course. I want to switch gears a little bit to speak a bit about life at MSBM and to welcome you. Don't worry, it's not that hard, and we will try to make it as comfortable as possible. So you're the second cohort to start totally online, but hopefully the last. And there are, I know, concerns about online learning. I just want to give you the assurance that our academics and systems are fully equipped to deliver online and giving our customer world-class education. You will hear a bit more about this later, but we are a fully accredited MBA program. And what's not known is that to get that accreditation, we have to be evaluated on all of our programs. So we're very comfortable that not only because of what we have designed and delivered, but also from an independent third party that we are giving a world-class delivery. So face-to-face interactions, I know there have been many questions on that, will be dependent on what the national situation is. After 6:30 this evening, we may have a clearer idea because the Prime Minister is set to address the nation. I want to encourage everybody to get vaccinated. The levels of vaccination are one of the things that will determine when we go back face-to-face. And we know that online has its strengths and its pluses, but that we also want to be able to have face-to-face interactions with students. Your guidelines to success while at MSBM, and I found in my time here, you will be the fourth cohort that I've had the privilege to welcome, that there are some things that I believe are essential for graduates to follow. The Graduate Studies Handbook and Regulations are your Bible. That's what determines how you select courses, the timing of the different phases of your exam, what constitutes a distinction, etc. It's very important because we see this tripping up a lot of students. What's in the rules is what will happen, not what you feel or what your friends tell you. I'd like to emphasize the last part, what your friends tell you, because we've had a lot of dislocations with students, and just follow the handbook and the regulations and you'll be fine. The last sentence is a little bit uncomfortable, but we have to raise this. Engaging legal counsel will not change this. Increasingly, we're seeing a lot of students coming with lawyers when they feel that they haven't gotten the grade they deserved or they don't think the exam is fair. And while it may be difficult, we assure you that we're here to help and to maximize your potential. And so we've seen a lot of this clapper interaction, and we would not want this to continue. It's essential that you know what you're responsible for, even if your lecturer and coordinators are helping. So a coordinator may help you through to get registered or to work through something with graduate students, but ultimately they're not responsible for it. You are. So when these things are not done, it's not enough to say, well, so-and-so was actually supposed to be helping, so that you have a clear view of checking that all the things that you're responsible for are done. And a lot of these will be outlined further by other presenters. It's important that you respect your lecturers and the coordinators. I know that you're all bright people, competent. Many of you may have middle or senior management positions. But you know, it's imperative that we understand that our lecturers are actually subject matter experts and good at what they do, and the coordinators are also experienced. The last one is also essential. Remain humble. Ask for help when you need it. The point of us setting up all of this structure with coordinators and academic advisors and lecturers is to make sure that when you need our help or advice, we're able to give it to you. And we also have the support of the University of the West Indies to help us with this as well. Again, another thing for success, you're now a graduate student, and for those of you who will be doing your first graduate program, it's a step up from undergraduate. So graduate students in particular are expected to delve into the subject matter beyond your slides and lecture notes. So interpret, discuss, analyze. Critical thinking skills are important. So an A is meant to represent subject mastery, and a C is functional knowledge of the curriculum and subject matter. So as a graduate student, the important thing is how do you manipulate knowledge? What additional information have you sought? So in a sense, it's not much different from when you have a challenging assignment at work and you have to push beyond the boundaries. But it is worth it, and this is what sets our program apart from a lot of others. Since going online as well, we have found, unfortunately, that there have been increasing instances of plagiarism and cheating. There's a zero tolerance towards it. So plagiarism essentially is passing off somebody's work as your own, usually a public reference, and cheating is passing off somebody who has done maybe an exam or question and again passing that off as your own. This can get you expelled from UWI and MSBM. And remember, all of our graduate students are graduate students of the UWI. So we're governed by those regulations on plagiarism and cheating. If in doubt, and you're quoting a source, say where you got that information from and who the originator is, then go on to discuss the ideas behind it. We also have to emphasize that it's important that you contribute equitably to group work and field projects, because once again, you'll be marked not just for the group output, but for your personal effort as well. So it's conceivably that your group could pass or get a high grade for a project or group work, and the individual could fail if they've not put in enough contribution. So we encourage, that when you're groups, that there's equity. And I don't use the word equally deliberately. I use equitably, because different persons have different skills, but you're expected to contribute those skills and talents to the group. The last one here, maths and stats are not hard. In Jamaican parlance, a lot of us have been psyched out about maths and stats, and we do have some amount of math and stats. And it's not that complex, but please don't worry or get a mental block over it. And again, we're here to help if you have any challenges in this area. My last section that I'll speak about are fees and payments. So again, just reiterating, our graduate programs are self-financing. In other words, we get no government subvention, so we have to charge full fees. We nominate our charges in US dollars, and all payments in other currencies, including Jamaican dollars, will be at the set MSBM exchange rate. When Ms. Reed, our finance director, speaks later, she will expound on this. So we are cognizant of the tough times, and if you're experiencing challenges, please speak to us. What we have done on a semester by semester basis since COVID has started is to give some set discount or accommodation depending on what the circumstances are. So we are willing to work with the student body, but we will never guarantee what we will do. So again, finance will speak more on that. It's very important. Please ensure payments are made or you have made arrangements with finance long in advance of exam. In other words, on time. We've had instances where students have paid a day before, but they've used third parties, and it has resulted in unfortunate circumstances where students end up either starting an exam late or in extreme circumstances missing an exam. We don't want that to happen, but if you're having challenges, just please let us know so that we can make the arrangements. So in conclusion, I want to welcome you again to MSBM. We wanted to have a very successful year. Even though we're in COVID and it's challenging times, you will be the third group that will have to go through online teaching and learning. The second group to do it full time. There was a group in 2019-20 that would obviously have started face-to-face but completed online. So we've had extensive training and experience, and we know it will be an adjustment, but we're, as I always said, we're here to help. And MSBM is a top-rated school, and we intend to keep it that way. Our MSc programs are rated top in Latin America and the Caribbean and the world by EduUniversal. And of course, AMBA, that rates our MBA, only credits the top 2% of business schools globally. So thank you for making it MSBM. We know you probably had some choices, but we're confident that you choose a world-class program at a world-class university. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Matt Bean. Comprehensive greetings to our students. As Dr. Matt Bean mentioned, as he introduced the team, he introduced the program coordinators. And of course, as he said, they will be very, very instructive for you and instrumental as you go through your tenure here at MSBM. So all our coordinators, in fact, or most of them are actually online with us now. And we ask that you place your questions in the chat. They'll be answering them even as the session proceeds, even before we get to the official question and answer session. You may put whatever questions you have, and the team is on hand to answer the questions. Thank you, Dr. McBean. Now we'll have Dr. Lila Rowe-Graham, who is the Deputy Executive Director and the Academic Director for the MBA program. And she will come and give us an overview of the programs and also some other tips as you proceed on your journey towards postgraduate success. So we'll have Dr. Rowe-Graham at this point. Dr. Graham.
Good evening, everyone. And also I'd like to extend my welcome to all of you and really just to congratulate you on making a choice in these difficult times in terms of investing in yourself and in your education. So I just want to congratulate you on that. What I want to do this evening is just provide a brief overview of our graduate programs. All of you know which program you have been accepted to by now, and you would know that we have some information sessions later on this week for the specific graduate program that you've been accepted. So I just want to provide a brief overview and welcome to all of you today. As Dr. McBean mentioned earlier, our director of the MSc programs couldn't be here today, unfortunately. So she asked us that we send greetings on her behalf. So as Dr. McBean mentioned, we are internationally recognized. We are as you would all know by now from the media, we are as a university ranked in the top 4%. Additionally, our MBA program has what we call AMBA, the Association of MBAs accreditation. And these recognitions are really aligned with our vision as a school to be an excellent globally recognized business school rooted in the Caribbean. And you'll see that alignment with all of our programs, especially in our choice of academics. or lecturers that teach the various courses. We have a mix of pure academics, industry persons in industry that bring that industry experience to the classroom. And we also ensure that our programs are globally aligned with international standards through our various accreditations, as Dr. McBean spoke to, but also the fact that we engage external examiners to really ensure that we're benchmarked against international institutions. Our mission speaks to the fact that we want to foster innovation for transformation of Caribbean enterprises. And again, this will be a focus not only in the delivery of our courses, but you'll also have additional opportunities to hone that innovation through various initiatives that we'll speak about later on throughout the program. I just want to give you now a brief overview of the various programs, their durations and structures, some of the expectations and responsibilities that Dr. McBean has already covered, so I'll go through quite briefly, and just some of our procedural matters. So in terms of our graduate programs, we have a suite of graduate programs, as you would know already, from going to our information sessions, and of course from applying. We have our MBA program, and our suite of MSc programs: accounting, marketing and data analytics, enterprise risk management, computer-based information systems, national security and strategic studies, corporate finance, and logistics and supply chain management. And as I said before, we'll have a specific information session for each of these programs throughout the week. So if you're not yet sure of when yours is, just put a message in the chat and one of our coordinators will answer that for you. In terms of the duration of our various programs, most of our programs are part-time, and the duration is at 24 months. There are some cases that we do offer also full-time. The national security is a 12 months option also, corporate finance, and MSc accounting. And this full-time option will be based on the numbers, if there's enough interest in the full-time option. Also, I just want to point out here that the MBA program, when we were face-to-face, we were at both the MSc and accounting and the MBA program also had a face-to-face delivery at the Western Campus in Montego Bay. Currently, those are not online. There is no distinction between the Western Campus and the Mona Campus. All the students are together for the online delivery. And when we go, and as Dr. McBean said, we're not sure when that will be, but if we do go back face-to-face, the MBA, both the Western Campus programs will be rolled into the Mona Campus programs. So we just want to make that very clear from the onset, since some of you would have applied specifically to the Western Campus program. In terms of the start date, the MBA program will start on Sunday. So I want to make that very clear. August the 15th, the MBA program starts. And this is because the MBA program has a foundational period. So the first month of that program, you'll be immersed into some foundational courses. Whereas the MSc program starts on September the 5th, and that is aligned with the rest of the university start date for their programs. In terms of the structures of the MBA and the MSCs, in terms of the MBA, as I mentioned previously, the first month will be what we call immersion period. We call it the ICE, the immersion, the concepts, and the execution. The immersion period consists of exposure to soft and basic skills development. Really, we're giving you a month to get immersed and get readjusted to the life of a student, since some of you have been out for a little while. Then you go into what we call the core or core modules, and those are 11 courses that really cover the breadth of MBA program. And then you go into what we call the concentration period. Many of you would already be aware of the concentrations we offered. And some of you, when you applied to a particular concentration. But I just want to make it very clear here that if you apply to a concentration, you're not guaranteed to complete that concentration. So if we don't have the numbers for the concentration, a particular concentration, we will not be in a position to offer that concentration. Additionally, if you fail one of the core courses, which I know none of you will do, but if you do fail one of the core courses of the needed for the concentration, you will have to choose another option for that concentration. And then the final phase of the MBA program is a phase that we call execution, in which you work together in groups and we partner with organizations to solve specific needs for that organization. It is not an internship. You're not working with that organization, but really it's about applying the knowledge and the skills you obtain throughout the program to solve a real world problem. In terms of the MSCs, they also composed of a personal development courses and some coping sessions. As the program proceeds, we'll make you aware of when those will be held. Then you also have a concepts phase in which it's the core concepts for the particular discipline, particular MSc that you have chosen. And then the program will also culminate, similar to the MBA, to what we call the execution phase, in which again you solve a real world problem or we do some simulation exercises with you as groups. In terms of how we assess your performance, most courses have what we call a coursework component and a final examination component. And I want to emphasize here, in terms of the graduate courses and graduate programs, you must pass both components. You must pass both the coursework and the final examination component. I know many of you that did undergraduate only needed to pass overall, but we expect that both components must be passed. Now, I just want to point out here, I know Ms. Bennett from the Office of Graduate Studies and Research will speak to this later on, that the grading scheme for graduate programs has recently been changed. And so they've moved to a grade point system. And so I just want to point out here that the previous cohort will be on a different system for the incoming cohort. So don't be surprised to hear previous students talking about ABCs, and currently we're talking to you about GPAs of 4.3, 4.0. And as I said, Georgia, Ms. Bennett from Graduate Studies will speak more about this. And I want to emphasize the point again that Dr. McBean made, that we as a school follow the regulations of the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. So these are not MSBM's rules and regulations, and these are not MSBM's GPA systems. They are outlined and approved by the Office of Graduate Studies and Research for all university graduate programs. Again, this is something new. We have three now. We used to have 2 levels of declaration of degrees, just a pass and a distinction. But now for you as new incoming groups, we have 3 levels, a pass, a merit, and a distinction. And again, Ms. Bennett will speak to this. But I just want to point out again, this will be something different than what previous cohorts would have abided by. There are some important documents that you may have gotten already, and if not, you will be getting quite shortly. We do have some registration guidelines, and registration is open, I think, starting today. And it's quite straightforward because you have some defined courses that you have to do for both the MSc and the MBA programs. We'll also use extensively what we call our MSB's executive learning space, which we have labeled MSBM ELS. That's where all the material, all the interaction with our students takes place, especially now that we're in an online environment. Dr. Mike Norton is here with us, and he will be speaking more to this as we go along. We also use Blackboard Collaborate to do the actual classes or lectures with the students. And finally, the prerequisite list. As I spoke to earlier, many of the concentration courses have prerequisites. So again, please pay special attention to this so that you're fully aware of what courses you will need to pass to be able to pursue a particular concentration. Every course, and I want to stress this again, every course you will be provided with a course outline. We view the course outline as a very, very important document because it's really the contract between you, the student, and the lecturer themselves. So on the course outline, you would see the objectives of the course, what this coursework component is made up of, how it will be weighted, the expectations of you as students of that particular course. So please pay special attention to these course outlines, and they should be read thoroughly before the start of the course. The other very important document Dr. McBean spoke to, the Bible we call it, which are the rules and regulations of the University of the West Indies graduate programs. And as again, I want to stress, it's the University of the West Indies graduates programs. We also have what we call a doc center, which once you come face to face, you can use as to study or get some quiet time. But the university as a whole has a number of resources available to you. And again, you'll be introduced to what those are as we go along. And finally, the app, we have a MSBM app. And again, I'll leave Dr. McNaughton to speak to that. In terms of examination results, again, I want to just point out that we as MSBM are only in a position to give what we call a provisional pass, pass-fail at the end of a particular course. All exam results are released by the examination section of the university. And any querying of grades, they have formal procedures that must be followed to do that. So you can come to the lecturer or the course coordinator to be asking what your grades are. Again, a provisional pass list will be posted through the learning management system, but the official grade is released by the examination section. Just some thoughts, and I think Dr. McBean had already pointed out some of these. We view graduate studies as a really shared learning experience, and everybody and all the various roles have certain responsibilities. We have students, obviously, the faculty, and then our whole administrative support. And I would say one of the key features and something that many past students have spoken about is the support that MSBM provides to students. So we encourage you to make use of that. And of course, we work very, very closely with the Office of Graduate Studies and Research to ensure all their rules and regulations are being adhered to. And again, the coordinators provide a very important resource, is ensuring that interaction and engagement with the Office of Graduate Studies and Research is seamless. And as the Office of, Ms. Bennett will speak about, but the Office of Graduate Studies and Research, reports to the Board for Graduate Studies, where, as I said, the rules and regulations of graduate studies are approved. Where do you as the students fit in? As we said, the graduate experience is quite different than the undergrad experience, and throughout the week we'll have different sessions to really try to emphasize this. All of you come with a vast experiences and very diverse backgrounds, and we really want to encourage you to bring those to the table and share your experiences and your backgrounds with other students. What you'll find is that you'll have students that are strong in certain areas and maybe weak in others, but they're strong where you're weak. So please ensure that you get to know each other. We always say that by the end of this, you might be seeing or engaging with your peers more than your family. So really get to know everybody and appreciate what they bring to the table. We're the facilitators. We as MSBM, we have, as I said, a top-class set of faculty. Our coordinators are there, always willing to assist, and we have a team of administrators willing and able to support you. We really do provide the link to the UE systems, processes, and regulations. And I said previously that most of this is through engagement with the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. We are the guardians of universities' rules and regulations, and we have to abide by these. So I think we are in a different environment. We are in an online environment, and sometimes it's felt that you don't get to know each other as well. But I really encourage you in terms of just engaging in the online environment. Dr. Mike Norton is going to give you some tips for that, but really ensure that you leave here with getting as much from the program as you can. You will have a lot of group projects to do, and some may not like this initially, but as you go along, you'll appreciate that the learning is really not just from the lecturer-student engagement, but from the engagement between your peers. So we encourage you to engage and in the online environment. And so again, let me just wish you all the best. We spoke about our ranking and our credibility, and we want you to take as much as you can from this experience while you're here, not just in the classroom, but also we have a lot of other activities we offer, and you'll be made aware of, and we really encourage you to be a part of this full MSBM experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Graham. So that was a very comprehensive presentation. But let me just remind you, students, that we have in fact lined up a number of program-specific sessions for later this week, beginning on Wednesday when the MBAs will meet. You would have gotten the schedule already in your virtual packages, and we will send out the links for those various sessions. So those sessions provide a forum where you can ask some program-specific questions and interact with the coordinators at that time as well. So thank you very much, Dr. Graham. As Dr. McBean mentioned, that you are the third cohort who will do your courses, at least begin the courses in an online mode. Last year, this time, we were also speaking to a group, and they would have been the first to actually begin their program. So you'll be the second to begin your program in an online mode, and then another cohort finished their program in a similar mode. So as you've heard, and since COVID, one of the terms that we hear so much is about pivoting. And of course, it means that we just have to be flexible and to be able to respond as challenges come. And so MSBM was able to, along with the rest of the UE, to be able to pivot, so to convert our courses into online classes, and that has been going well so far, thankfully. But we do understand that it is a challenging situation, and that for many of you who perhaps would have been out of school for a while now, coming back to do graduate studies and then to start in an online mode, we recognize the challenges associated with that. And so we have Dr. Maurice McNaughton, the Director of the Center of Excellence and Innovation here at MSBM, who will come to talk to you about navigating this online experience to guarantee success. Dr. McNaughton.
Thank you very much, Janice. And let me just say thanks to your entire marketing team for putting on a great virtual production. And then you have in fact managed to keep us all engaged on all channels, whether it's the physical channels or the digital channels. We'll talk about some of those this evening, but again, thanks to you and the team. So let me just extend a warm greeting to everyone. Just allow me to extend my own personal welcome to you as new members of the MSBM family. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you can expect in terms of the MSBM online learning experience. And you'll also hear a little bit about some of those MSBM digital channels of engagement that we encourage you to take advantage of. Usually at this time of the year and for these orientation sessions, it really is an exciting one for us because it is an opportunity for us to, in a sense, meet, if you don't mind me calling you, our new recruits. And the truth is, new students always bring a kind of eagerness and a kind of refreshed perspective to our graduate programs. Perhaps after you've been into the program for a year and a half, maybe some people become a little bit jaded, but we find that usually at the beginning, at the start, there's a kind of enthusiasm and eagerness and sort of refreshing perspective that you bring to our graduate program. So we look forward to this. As you've heard, last year's orientation, 2020, was the first one that we had to do fully virtually, as we, along with the entire world, grappled with the restrictions and the uncertainties of the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges that it created for our traditional modes of teaching and learning. At the time when we went through this event last year, we were kind of under the hopeful delusion that 1 year later, COVID-19 would be behind us. But unfortunately, COVID is still very much part of our day-to-day experience. And I know our Prime Minister is busily announcing a new round of curfews and restrictions as we speak. So it's very much a part of our academic or professional or day-to-day living experience. For us as an academic institution, COVID has had several challenges. And, we've had to, like everyone else, deal with the issue of social distancing, which means that our traditional physical spaces of learning, our classrooms, have become quite restricted, and we've been forced to address that through remote teaching. Things like group activities and field projects, which traditionally have been huge opportunities for students to engage with the real world and the business community. We've had to take those virtual, which again removes a little bit of the intimacy. Exams of administration has gone online, moved from the traditional face-to-face proctored examinations. And of course, within the larger economy, job losses and the economic downturn affects our students and affects us as an institution. So, I mean, those have been some of the challenges of COVID that we have to contend with. So the reality is that our classrooms for the foreseeable future, or maybe I shouldn't say our classrooms, let me say our teaching spaces, are not going to look like they've looked for the better part of our existence like this. And, MSBM has been, like every other academic institution, whether it's the Harvards, ourselves, or high schools for that matter, have had to adjust to that new reality. But one of the things that we reflect on as we've made the adjustments and the transitions is this is quite important notion that, listen, in times of change, and COVID has brought big adversity and big change. They say learners inherit the earth, right? People who have the capacity to learn and to adapt and to change. While the learned, so people who have learned something in a different space and time, find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. So the reality is, we ourselves as an academic institution, yourselves as individuals and now students of the MSBM have to make those adjustments. And Ram Emanuel says, let's never let a good crisis go to waste. So every crisis represents an opportunity to do things that perhaps you never even thought of or never thought that you could have done before. So those are important notions, and for MSBM during the heights of the COVID pandemic, during 2020 into 2021, we had to address the challenges and at the same time embrace the opportunities, right? So just very briefly, what we undertook during the course of the last academic year. Obviously, observing all the public health guidelines and the rules of physical distancing, social distancing, masking, and so forth. Right. We've had to migrate all of our teaching and learning from face-to-face to remote. We have had all of our faculty and our lecturers trained in remote teaching tools, and you'll hear a little bit about these, or MSBM Executive Learning Space, or VLE for undergrads, Blackboard Collaborate for virtual streaming, and other online tools. We've had to redesign our examinations to move from the traditional proctored, administered face-to-face exercises to online modes of assessment. And we've had to be very deliberate in the way we engage our students in this new medium, in this very different way of teaching and learning. And the truth is that, if we reflect on this sort of dispassionately, ourselves and the university at large has done a pretty good job of making that adjustment. But it can't stop there. I mean, that was a reaction or response to a crisis, and we had to make those adjustments. During the course of last year as well, we took the opportunity to embrace new digital tools for teaching and learning. We created more convenient and flexible class options for students. And we expanded our reach, and so that, the COVID-19 pandemic challenge also created opportunities for us to exploit these new modes of delivery to extend our reach, not only in terms of our academic programs, but in terms of our professional services units, in terms of short courses, executive courses, and so forth. And, we've taken the opportunity to re-examine the pedagogy of the way we do online teaching and learning. So for us, just going online and doing remote teaching was an mandatory initial response to the challenges of the pandemic. But then beyond that, we've been looking at how do we need to sort of reimagine the way that MSBM engages with our students. And as part of that whole process of transition, we also did ask and get feedback from our students in terms of what this new experience meant to them. And so we understand that, and again, this was a survey that we did last year as we made the transition, maybe 2 semesters in. And quite a few of our students experience challenges with online connectivity. Roughly about half of our students felt initially that online classes were less engaging than face-to-face. And that was really more of a sense of what they expected. But then, generally speaking, more than 65% of our students began to embrace online teaching and learning, and certainly the convenience of it, especially for part-time students, not having to jump in your car at 5 o'clock and battle traffic to get up to campus. A lot of our students found that there was a lot of value in the convenience that this new experience brought. And in summary, many students felt that online classes were better than they originally expected or anticipated. Perhaps not as engaging as face-to-face, but more convenient. And that was incredibly important feedback for us, because it gives us an opportunity to think about how we want to continue to reshape and improve the way we do online teaching and learning. So that, as we prepare for the 2021 onwards, the new semester, and looking beyond, we found it necessary, like just about every other institution and organization in the public and private sectors, we found it necessary to sort of step back, reflect, and think deeply about digital transformation as MSBM goes forward. And we look at this across several pillars, or academic institutions and programs, our knowledge resources and the way we harness and leverage and exploit those, the way we use technology both in the classroom and in our online engagement, our own operational processes and administrative systems, and how we make those more efficient and more effective and create a better experience for our clients and our students. And ultimately, our customer orientation, the way we do our marketing, the way we engage through multiple channels. And so we've had the opportunity to kind of think through this and recast what MSBM digital looks like going forward. Because while COVID might be here for a while, it will go away. And, the opportunity to have physical face-to-face engagement will return at some point. But we certainly do not believe that the pendulum will swing all the way back. And so we have to prepare ourselves as an academic institution for that new normal. And so I just want to, and again, you don't need to try and read this, but I just want to bring to your attention some of the key aspects of our transformational agenda that will impact you directly. So for instance, the way we enhance the quality of our online teaching and learning through hybrid digital technologies, something that we're thinking very seriously about. So we do anticipate that when things return to quasi-normal, there will be some persons who want to come back to the physical teaching and learning space, but there will be people who believe that, the convenience of being online is trumps the physical. And so we want to create flexible options so that students can either choose to attend a physical class or stay online and get the same quality of experience. I would call about hybrid, we refer to as hybrid learning. So that's an important part of our consideration. We're looking at a lot of digital content and digital assets that we have, and how we harness those and leverage those and disseminate those through our various online channels and make them available to you. And that's both video content and a range of other types of digital content. We are going to talk a little bit very briefly about MSBM Mobile. We understand that the mobile phone has become the perennial device for everyone. And so we see it as an opportunity to engage on demand with our constituents, especially our students. So we'll talk a little bit about MSBM Mobile. And of course, social media is such an important channel that any institution ignores social media at their own peril. And so we are very active in our social media channels, and we encourage you to, as Janice said earlier, to sign up and be a part of our YouTube channel or Twitter channel or Instagram channels. And we're busily building MSBM Digital as a high quality digital face of MSBM as an institution. So there'll always be the MSBM that you know and love, and the beautiful campus within which we reside. And again, post-COVID, we hope that you will have that opportunity. But we're going to augment that with a very strong kind of digital presence. And so it's not just about the technology and the systems and institutions, but as instructors, as lecturers, as your teachers, we're working very hard to make the interactions more engaging. So communicating more effectively, showing empathy, even in the way we design our examinations, recognizing that persons may have challenges with power or with internet access, allowing students to participate in more activities and engage with lecturers more, making much more effective use of digital media. Many of our lectures, as part of the refining of our online pedagogy, have cut our lectures from these 3-hour monologues that you're more likely to find in a face-to-face setting to much more interactive sessions online. So we're trying to create a much more impactful, interesting, engaging experience for students. And for you, you have a role to play in this as well. As we said, this is a collaborative process. We want you to embrace digital as a mode of interaction that can be enriching. Don't just see it as the poorer cousin of face-to-face, but something that creates additional opportunities to engage much more broadly and have a richer learning experience. And listen, beyond teaching and learning and the academic part of what we do, which we know is the most important reason why you're here, but we want you to take advantage of MSBM's engagement offerings. We have a range of public fora, which we've continued to do through digital channels such as this. We have multiple digital channels and digital content, from MSBM Review to our monthly newsletters. We create networking opportunities, and there are a range of extracurricular professional clubs in marketing and finance and accounting and other areas that you'll hear about over the course of the coming week, and we encourage you to take advantage of those. And most of all, we want you to have fun. As George Skylabus said, perhaps imagination is only intelligence having fun. So we want you to have fun, and we want to facilitate that as much as possible. So you would have gotten in your package some notes on the various MSBM digital learning resources that you'll be engaging with. MSBM ELS is our executive learning system, which is the course management system where all of your course materials, I saw a couple of questions earlier about where you can access course outlines. All of our course materials for every course is published on MSBM ELS. And it also provides other asynchronous learning features, such as discussion forums and so forth. So we use that extensively as part of our teaching and learning process. Blackboard Collaborate is the virtual classroom platform where you'll be doing online synchronous classes. So the classes will be streamed real time. And so that works in collaboration with MSBM ELS. I mentioned MSBM Mobile. It's our mobile channel for the way we disseminate information, look to enhance service delivery for our students, and it provides you with on-demand access to all of MSBM's digital channels for news, for social media, or YouTube channel. And of course, on the MSBM website, you have access to our full range of social media channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and what's that little one in the middle, Janice, with the 3 dots? I forget. So again, you'll have these materials, and if you have your camera just now and you point to any of these QR codes, it will take you to those digital assets. So as I said, we're trying to create an online teaching and learning experience that is not just a fallback from face-to-face, but an opportunity to create a richer kind of engagement and learning experience for you. And so as I welcome you to MSBM, welcome you to our online channels and our online resources, I encourage you to really just take advantage of the teaching and learning experience that we offer. So thank you very much. Welcome again. And I'm sure that I'm going to encounter some of you in the classroom at some point over the course of the next several months. So, Janice.
Thank you very much, Maurice, for that presentation and for just letting the students know that MSBM is up there when it comes to the digital space, in terms of our app and our social media presence. We're very active in that space. So students, as you've heard, we also support you with a lot of resources, and we always want to just remind you of that we see our role, all of us, as faculty, as admin staff, as coordinators, as helping you on your journey towards postgraduate success. Thank you very much, Maurice. So you've been hearing from those of us who work here, but I think it's also important, and always a very important part of these sessions, for you to get some feedback from these actual students who are enrolled in the program. And so today we have two students who you'll hear from. We'll first hear from Mrs. Rosemary Hall Stewart. She's currently pursuing the MBA. She's an HR officer at Jamaica Public Service Company Limited. She'll be followed by Mrs. Shawnette Harvey, who is pursuing the MSc in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. Both of them are finalizing. And Shawnette is a Logistics and Customer Service team leader at J. Ray and Neville Limited. So let's have them. Rosemary first, followed by Shawnette.
Hey Cohort 25, welcome to your new family. I am Rosemary Hall Stewart, proud member of Cohort 23. I remember sitting in your seats 2 years ago, face to face, bundle of nerves, but with a poker face. Remember I started by saying, welcome to your new family? Well, if you're like me, you will leave with at least 5 new friends who are family. I'm not going to tell you this program is a walk in the park or sell you the fantasy that is the easiest road to walk. But with a dedicated drive, you will be out of here in 2 years. Let me tell you some of the stuff that worked for me. First and foremost, to this day, I do not know the cost to resit, nor the procedure. That was something I made up my mind I will not be doing. There's a degree here for all of us. Helping a friend, going over a procedure or a concept with a colleague solidifies it here. Easier than even reading. Be organized and prepared to hit the ground running. Time is a relative concept. Before you know it, assignments are due. Go on ELS, read your course outline, look for your deliverables and their due dates. The gazebo was my friend. That's where I went to go into work mode. Now, because we're virtual, find a space, even in a corner of your home, where you know that once you get there, you're in work mode. If you haven't as yet, find your why. Hold on to it. That is what's going to take you to the finishing line. Last but not least, remember to breathe. Take care of your mental health, because I'll see you in 2 years with those 3 little letters behind your name, MBA.
Hi everyone, my name is Shawnette Harvey. I'm a graduate student in the Social Sciences faculty pursuing a Master of Science degree in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. The first thing I want to do is to congratulate you. If you ever had any doubt about the decision that you've taken, I'm here to reassure you that you've made an excellent decision and a step in the right direction. So congratulations. My experience so far, the program has met, exceeded and challenged my expectations. For one, due to the pandemic, having to engage in distant or online learning took some adjusting. I had to make some adjustments. But what I love about online learning is its flexibility and convenience. So I don't have to leave my home for hours on a day to commute in traffic to go and sit in a classroom. I can find that isolated space within my own home that allows me to focus and allows me to learn within my own capacity. So I appreciate the flexibility and the convenience of online learning. The platform that is used by the university is simple, straightforward, easy to maneuver. I love the fact that they record the sessions. So if you miss something, you can always go back and watch. It also helps with studying, trust me. What has been challenging though is online exams. I don't know if it would have been the same if it was face-to-face exams, but online exams have stretched me. They have challenged me. But what I've learned though is once you've covered the course content and you go in knowing the course content, you should be fine. The lecturers are knowledgeable, they are capable, they are competent. They all have different styles of imparting knowledge, but they are competent lecturers, which is an excellent thing. I also want to highlight the fact that the university sends you a survey at the end of the course for you to evaluate the lecturers. So of course, right then and there, there is an analysis being done, and so some adjustments will be made where necessary. Overall, the university is responsive, I believe. Once you raise your concerns and your claims, they're addressed. They're addressed within context, they're addressed within policies, and they're addressed within procedures. May not be favorable, but it's addressed, and it's addressed within a timely manner. So my experience so far is satisfactory, and I can only trust and hope that it will get better from here. I'm excited for the new year, and I'm excited for your first year, as you two will chart your own journey and have your own experience.
Thank you very much, Rosemary and Shawnette. So you would have heard of their experiences here. Both have said the programs are challenging, but they feel well supported. And so we're happy to hear that and wish both of them every success as they finalize and complete their studies here at MSBM. So soon they will be joining the ranks of our alumni. At MSBM, among the school's notable achievements, we are especially proud of our graduates who represent themselves and represent the school well all over the world. And so we are very pleased this afternoon to have the president of the MSBM Alumni Association, Mr. Chevron Legister, who is coming to offer on behalf of the alumni their own welcome to you as you begin your course of study here at MSBM. So we'll now hear from Chevron.
Hi, my name is Chevron Legister, current president of the MSBM Alumni Association. I'm also a member of cohort 14, which may sound like a long time ago for new students. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the new students to MSBM. The MSBM Alumni Association focuses on three main tenets, one being increasing the membership and participation of current and past students. Two is to focus on providing an opportunity for less fortunate students to be able to complete their area of studies by providing grants. And thirdly, to bridge that gap that exists between current and past students. While we are aware that your time here will be focused on completing your area of study, we want to encourage you to seize the networking opportunities that will exist through this MSBM experience. Once again, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chevron, on behalf of the MSBM Alumni Association and all the members of that association scattered all over the world and taking their place in society. Thank you, Chevron. You would have heard in some of the presentations so far, I think Dr. Matt Bean and Dr. Graham both mentioned the significant role that the Office of Graduate Studies and Research plays as supporting us at MSBM as we deliver to you the courses that we do. And so we are pleased to have with us, joining us this evening, Ms. Georgia Bennett, Assistant Registrar in the Office of Graduate Studies and Research, who will speak to us and highlight some of the regulations regarding graduate studies at the University of the West Indies. So we invite you to pay keen attention to all that she has to offer. Ms. Bennett?
Thank you, Ms. Henlin. Good day, everyone, at the University of the West Indies. And thank you for choosing the UWI to pursue your graduate studies. I will commence my presentation by giving a very brief overview about the Office of Graduate Studies and Research. Then I'll highlight a few of our graduate regulations. Now, the Office of Graduate Studies and Research falls under the direction of the School for Graduate Studies and Research and the Office of the Campus Registrar. Our main responsibilities are admissions, registration, scholarships, examinations of all theses and some research papers, and graduation. Our office is also responsible for ensuring that the university's graduate regulations are adhered to and all our programs are governed by these regulations. Our regulations booklet, which is divided into 3 sections, Section 1, General Regulations, Section 2, Regulations for Written Examinations and Coursework, and Section 3, Regulations for Examination of Research Papers, Project Report, and Theses. Just to add that our regulation booklet is not yet available. As soon as it becomes available, it will be sent to you via email. Now, the first regulation that I'll be bringing to your attention with regards to registration. And the regulation states that all students are required to register each semester, and continuing students who fail to register are deemed to have withdrawn. Registration is one of our biggest challenges in the Office of Graduate Studies, as many of our students are not remembering to register each semester. So whether you're pursuing a course that is 100% coursework or a course that has a coursework and an examination component, you must register for it, as it is the only way you can get an official transcript from the university, or you'll be regarded as a student. And just to note that registration dates are normally provided by the Office of the Campus Registrar. Now, students may have a good reason for not registering. It may be medical, personal, financial, or work-related reasons. In such a case, students are required to request leave of absence. Now, leave of absence, according to the regulation, will not be granted for more than 2 consecutive academic years. And applications for leave of absence for a semester shall be submitted by the end of the 3rd week of the relevant semester. And applications for leave of absence for the academic year shall be submitted by the end of the 3rd week of semester 1. And there's a penalty fee for late leave of absence requests. The fee starts at 4,000 Jamaican dollars and it goes up to a maximum of $16,000. Now, the longer it takes to request leave of absence, that's when the fee increases. And such a request is done online. Now, at the University of the West Indies, there are 2 kinds of withdrawal: deemed to have withdrawn or required to withdraw. And the regulation states that where a student does not meet the final deadline for submission of any requirement for a graduate certificate, diploma, or degree, that student's registration and the right to re-registration shall expire at the end of the semester during which the final deadline occurs. Such students are deemed to have withdrawn. And then it says, students registered in graduate certificates, diplomas, taught master's degrees, or programs in which courses are delivered over a short period may, on account of poor performance, be required to withdraw. So deemed to have withdrawn is something the student did not do. For example, register or submit all their coursework assignments at the stipulated deadline dates. They are deemed to have withdrawn. Required to withdraw normally is as a result of poor academic performance, and the university has to ask you to withdraw from the program. Now, students who are deemed to have withdrawn or required to withdraw, in order to come back in the university system, you have to apply for readmission. And the regulation states that applicants deemed to have withdrawn may apply for readmission at any time, and applicants required to withdraw will be considered for readmission not less than 2 years after their withdrawal, unless the Board for Graduate Studies and Research in any particular case otherwise decides. The regulation also goes further to say applicants readmitted may, with the approval of the campus committee, be credited with courses passed during the applicant's previous registration, provided that not more than 5 years have lapsed since the date of expiry of the applicant's previous registration for those courses, or that the course content has not changed significantly in the interval. So you'll notice that the first regulation states that applicants deemed to have withdrawn may apply for readmission at any time. But the regulation goes further to say that the applicant must come back in the university system within 5 years, else there's a possibility that they would have to start the program from the beginning. Now, cheating, and Dr. McBean mentioned about this. According to the graduate regulations booklet, cheating is any act intended to benefit oneself or another by deceit or fraud. The regulation also states that candidates must not directly or indirectly give assistance to any other candidate or permit any other candidate to copy from or otherwise use his or her papers. A candidate must not directly or indirectly accept assistance from any other candidate or use any other candidate's papers. These behaviors will be regarded as cheating. And the university has a zero tolerance approach to cheating. If found guilty of cheating or attempting to cheat, the penalty can range from a student being disqualified from the examination concerned or disqualified from all his or her examination taken in that examination session, or disqualified from all further examinations of the university for any such period of time as it may be determined. Now, plagiarism, and I'm sure everybody knows what plagiarism is, but according to our booklet, it says plagiarism means unacknowledged use of words, ideas, or creations of another, and includes situations where the student reuses without acknowledgement their own previously written texts, ideas, or creations when writing any new work. Now, there are two levels to plagiarism. Level 1 occurs where small quantities of the work are affected and or the breaches are minor. It includes cases of cosmetic or poor paraphrasing, negligent referencing, or incorrect or missing citations. Level 2 plagiarism occurs where large quantities of the work are affected and or the breaches are serious. It includes cases in which significant amount of material is borrowed or directly quoted or cosmetically paraphrased with no attribution at all, or attribution insufficient to indicate that the borrowed material is not the work of the student. Then we have plagiarism in work which does not constitute a thesis or major project report. For example, your coursework assignment, and the regulation states that once examiners are satisfied that level 1 plagiarism has been committed, they shall levy a penalty in the form of a reduction in the marks, which would have otherwise been awarded. So, for example, if you're in your coursework assignment, if one of your lecturers felt that you would have normally been awarded at 60%, he or she can, if he or she is satisfied that you have committed plagiarism, can reduce your mark from a 60% to a 55%, moving your letter grade from a B- to a C+. And then there is plagiarism in thesis and major project report, and this matter is referred to the Director for Graduate Studies and Research for action. And when the regulations booklet becomes available, you can read further on the action the Director is expected to take once such a matter is brought to her attention. There's plagiarism in thesis, a major project report, or in work which does not constitute either a thesis or major project report. This matter too is also referred to the Director for action. And to add also that the university also has a zero tolerance approach to plagiarism, and if found guilty, the penalty can range from a reduction in marks, which would have otherwise been awarded, to being dismissed from the university with or without possibility of re-entry. Effective this academic year, which is the 2021-2022 academic year, all new graduate students pursuing taught master's programs will fall under the GPA grading scheme. And just to add that at the graduate level, 50% is the pass mark, and the letter grade associated with that is C. And also to add that all our students who were previously admitted prior to the 2021-2022 academic year, they will continue under the old marking scheme, which is on my left.
Hi, Georgia, just a minute. Excuse me. We're hearing an alarm in the background. Can you just mute that first, please? My apologies. Just the students are not hearing well. Thank you very much. My apologies.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. And then the general regulations with regards to examinations, it says candidates are required to pass either the coursework. In order to be successful at a course, you must pass either the coursework or the written examinations and coursework. It says that where a candidate fails a course, he or she will be required to repeat the fail component of the course or the entire course. The regulation goes further to say where a candidate fail any component of a course, that counts towards the final grade, whether the coursework or final examination will be deemed to be, let me read that again. Where a candidate fail any component of a course that counts towards the final grade, whether coursework or final exam, will be deemed to have failed that course and will be assigned the grade FC or FE, even if they obtain an overall mark of 50% or higher. And this is what the regulation is referring to. If you have attained an overall grade of 50% or greater, your letter grade will be fail exam if it's the exam component that you have failed, or fail coursework if it's the coursework component that you have failed. The regulation also states that candidates who obtain an overall mark below 50% in a course will be assigned a grade F1, F2, or F3 based on the overall mark achieved. And this is what, so for example, you got a grade of 35% in your your overall grade is 35%. The letter grade associated with that will be F2. The regulation also states that candidates must reach the threshold semester GPA of 2.00 or above to continue in the program. Academic standing will be based on the semester GPA. If a candidate's semester GPA falls below 2.00, the candidate will be given a warning in the first semester. If the candidate's semester GPA falls below 2.00 for 2 consecutive semesters, they will be required to withdraw. And a student who is dissatisfied with the examination, with the results of his or her examination, should report his or her dissatisfaction in writing to the campus registrar. Such report must be made within 2 weeks of the publication of results. And the report on the dissatisfaction of an examination result must be submitted to our examination section, as this is the section that is responsible for all our written examinations. And under the GPA system, the class of awards are as follows. Distinction will be awarded on the basis of a program GPA of 3.70 or above. Merit will be awarded on the basis of a program GPA of 3.00 to 3.69, and pass will be awarded on the basis of a program GPA of 2.00 to 2.99. And my final slide, which has nothing to do with the regulations, just to inform you that the Office of Graduate Studies and Research is on social media, and you can communicate with us using the platforms highlighted on the screen. We also use this media to remind students of deadline dates, such as registration, and we also bring to their attention important notices. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome to the University of the West Indies, and all the best in your studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Georgia, and thank you for always supporting us at these orientation sessions and, of course, throughout the course of the year. So, students, as you've realized, quite a lot to take in, but she's promised the updated handbook is being finalized, and once that's ready, you'll have access to that so that at hand you can be always kept abreast as to the requirements. Very, very important part of your success as you proceed through your program. So thank you once again, Georgia. So we have one final presentation, students, and we know that in addition to wanting to know about the programs, wanting to know about the regulations, everyone wants to know about the level of financial investment in the program and how exactly that works. So we have with us this evening Ms. Merlin Reed, the Director of Finance, and she will just remind you about the financial investment, I like to call it, so that you can work out your ROI as the program progresses. So, Ms. Reed, let's have you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Enlin, for your introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this, our 2021 orientation session. And I know you have been listening quite a bit from around 6 p.m. this evening. So I won't keep you long. Most of what I will be sharing with you is on our website, and you can visit there in your time convenient, best time convenient to you. Praise yourself of the information that is there and make contact with us. I will share email address and telephone numbers, and you can reach out to us and we will explain anything you need to understand further or answers your questions as they come to us. So the MBA's tuition fee is $16,000 US, and $16,000 US in this time is a huge investment. It could be used for so many different things, but you have chose it for your education, and for that reason, I am hoping that at the end you would have got your return on your investment. I'm sorry. Now, this is a summary of our program fees here at MSBM. And I just want to take a few minutes, just a few seconds to look at it. So we have tuition fee ranging from 16,000 US to 8,000 US, depending on the program that you have chosen to do. Fees are billed in US currency, as you see here, but you have the option of paying in either US or Jamaican dollars. And I will go to the exchange rate in a little bit. Your tuition fee is also charged to your account on a semester basis. So each semester we will upload an amount. If you are full-time students, then we will upload 3 times during your program. If you are part-time, we'll upload 6 times for the 6th semester, with the exception of the MBA that we'll upload 7 times, 1 for the immersion period and then for each semester thereafter. So the MBA program, as you can see, 16,000. The CBMIS and the national security, both of those are 8,000 US. The MSc in Enterprise Risk Management is 12,000, and all the others are 10,000 US for the program. So let me highlight the MSc Corporate Finance that have a full-time component to it. And this is where I'm saying each semester beginning September of this year, you would pay $3,333 and some cents per semester. If you're doing part-time, the amount is just over 1,600 per semester for these part-time programs. The CBMIs and the national security per semester, just over $1,300 for each semester. And the enterprise risk management, $2,000 per semester. This is offered only on a part-time basis. For the MBA program, you will have an immersion period as explained earlier by Dr. Graham, and you are required to pay a deposit, so to speak, for the immersion that would cover the immersion period of US 1,600, and thereafter you would pay 2,400 per semester. So for your first semester, it will cost you 4,000 US, and thereafter 2,400 per semester. Here we go on the exchange rate. So as I said earlier, fees are payable in are billed in US currency and are payable in Jamaican dollar or US currency. The choice is yours. The applicable exchange rate for this academic year, 2021-22, is 155 Jamaican dollar to each US dollar. And I have here subject to change. It's been discussed. We have to look at what is going on in the environment, and if the rate changes, I'm sure the board will discuss that, and any benefits that were derived, it will be passed on to the student. The last 2 academic year, having had the class online, we have offered a small discount to students. In the first year, we offer 15%, and also in this academic year that's just completed, a 5% discount in semester 3. Additionally, the students in the last semester school year, the students who paid their fees in US dollars would have benefit from some form of discount based on the exchange rate. There is a fee that is payable by all students, and that is miscellaneous fees. All students are required to pay miscellaneous fees. MSBM collect the fees on behalf of the university and pay it over to them. The fee, as some of you would have done undergrad here would know, covers ID, your ID, your health, you have an opportunity to get an health card, and the other one slipped me. But that is miscellaneous fee, and it is paid annually. It is paid in Jamaican dollar. And the amount for this academic year is $16,717. We understand that there's a discussion going on to offer a discount on the amount, but we don't know what it is as yet. But any amount paid, once the amount is paid, and if there's a discount, the discounted amount would be applied to your account and help to reduce your tuition fee. So you will get your benefit even if you pay the $16,717 upfront. It will be applied to your account. Also, some of you may have paid the commitment fee. If you have paid these fees, please ensure that you send us a copy of your payment record. If it was paid to the university, send it to us. If you paid your MSBM, please send it to us. We need to have these documentation so as to update your account as quickly as possible. Useful information, please email us at msbm-accounting@uemona.edu.jm. Your payment slips, once you have made your payments, please send us the emails with the document and verification and confirmation of your payment. Sometimes you will make payment, and in sending over the doc information via bank transfer, you may not have enough space to put in all your personal information, such as the ID number or your name. And so the funds will come over and we are not certain who it is belongs to, and therefore your account will not be updated on time. So please, as you make the transfer, please send us the information, the payment documentation as to how you can send your fees are online. We have that information also available. We'll email it out to students, the method of transferring your fees. Also, we have some sessions, Ms. Helen speak about them earlier, and we have some sessions coming up later this week, talk about financing of your tuition fee, and we will be there to answer your question. And also during those sessions, we'll expound further on your payment methods, payment plans, and what does financial clearance means to you. I know a lot of students sometimes have payment plans and they will say, but I have a payment plan. Why am I barred from ELS, or why am I not seeing my grades on SAS or have financial clearance? Let me speak a little bit about financial clearance. Financial clearance means that you have paid up all your fees. That is what financial clearance means. And it is a system generated. So once you have paid your fees and your payment is equal to or more than your charge, then you will have financial clearance automatically from the system. And financial clearance is required for registration. And your miscellaneous fee is required to be paid at registration. The university require that, and we would expect that that will be done. Students with outstanding balances are usually barred from examination unless you have made an arrangement for a payment thereafter with the accounting unit. So we said, what does a payment plan give you? Payment plan give you access to ELS. Payment plan give you access to the class material and your textbooks. And payment plan does not grant you a financial clearance. Therefore, if you do not, your fees are not paid, then you would not have financial clearance. Financial clearance are based on payment. Even if you have gone to one of the financial institutions, for example, and are in the process of applying for your loan, and your loan is, say, 3/4 ways in the process, we still cannot grant you financial clearance. What we would do is to use that information to grant you access to the facilities, either through your examinations or for the learning platform. So as I said earlier, there's a lot more information I know and questions you may have, but during this week when we have the open sessions by groups, our programs, we will answer your questions as best as we can and supply all the information that you may require. And in your own time, you can look at the payment, the tuition schedule, which is on the website, and get as much information as you can. Once again, let me use the opportunity to welcome you, and we are here to answer your questions. I don't want to drain you this evening with all this information, because I know, though it's important, you have been sitting for a very long time. Welcome again, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Merlin, for that presentation. And just to reiterate, as she has said, there is in fact a session tomorrow at 6 p.m. You would have gotten that information in your letter with the link for tomorrow's session, where we will have more detailed information about the financing arrangements, including presentations from representatives from both the JMB Bank, which offers a special loan product for MSBM students, as well as representative from the Students' Loan Bureau. So that's tomorrow at 6 p.m., where you can get some more details and some of the questions answered. So I know by looking at the chat that there's been a robust question and answer session going on. Students have been putting in questions and getting a lot of their questions answered. So we thank the coordinators for that. Many of the questions we notice have to do with issues related to registration. So I want to remind you again that we have a schedule. That schedule has been shared with you, but I'll remind you that we have program-specific sessions all of this week, beginning on Wednesday with the MBA. So those sessions are very, very critical for you to get some of the information that I see in the chat about registration. Then we also have included in the packages that you have received a contact sheet listing, which has the contact information for all the program coordinators. So we encourage you as well to communicate with them directly to have some of your questions answered. So we want to end our session certainly by 8, because you've been a good audience so far, but we don't want to overdo it. Many of you have been here since 6 o'clock. You've gotten quite a lot of information that we've given to you so far, and we also have online resources to support you. But we will project a few of the questions just so that everybody can have the benefit of some of the answers. But before we go on to that, I just want to bring your attention to a particular session that we're having, which is not one of the program-specific ones, but one that we expect all of you would attend. So just to point out that as part of our mandate as a school to develop you as whole individuals, we have implemented an initiative called Growth and Development Skills for Success. For short, we call that GLOSS, the GLOSS series. And the goal of these sessions which we host over the year, is to enhance the students' personal development and life skills as they maneuver through their academic journey. So we're not just focusing on GPAs and grades and accounting and finance, but we want to ensure that you develop as whole individuals. And so the first session in this series is called Preparing to be an MSBM graduate student. And this will be held on Thursday, August 12th, beginning at 6. Again, this is included in your package and we will send the links to you. But I just wanted to bring that up at this point, that we are also very mindful about developing our students in a holistic manner. So that's a public service announcement just before we take some questions, but we do intend, we will, even after we've done the questions, we'll stay on for a little, but we will wrap up everything by 8 p.m. so that we can keep true to form in terms of just managing our time. So questions are being answered online, we know that, and that will continue, but we'll wrap up at 8 o'clock. So do we have any of the questions that we want to project? So we'll bring on screen, we have Dr. Raw Graham, Miss Reed, and let's bring on Miss Bennett as well, in case persons have any questions having to do with the grades and GPA, etc., etc. So the first question we see here is, how are students placed in groups, and does the school put students in groups? Dr. Graham, you want to take that one?
Sure. Just to point out, some courses do it differently. So it can be that the lecturer decides that you choose your groups. But definitely for the final project, the final component where everybody does the execution course, those students are actually placed in groups because we look at the backgrounds of students, try to ensure there's a right mix that meets the project's needs. So it can vary, but be prepared to, in some cases, get to choose, but also be prepared to be put into groups by the lecturer or by the school when you do the final project.
Okay, and perhaps at this point, Dr. Graham, I'm just going to ask you to speak a little about the field project, because that's a significant component of all of our master's
Right.
programs.
So all our master's program have what we call a execution phase, which I had described. In that execution phase, it's really about taking the skills and knowledge that you got, whichever program you're in, from the core courses, the foundation and core courses, and applying it to a real world organizational problem. How we identify those problems is really we partner with businesses and our organizations. We have a partnership with them, and they put forward some of their issues that they would like to address that maybe they can't prioritize at this time. And so we work with a group. A group is assigned to that project for that organization to scope it and to solve that problem. And that's what we call the execution phase. Some of the programs, I know for sure the MSc in finance, for example, in lieu of that kind of structure for their final project, they may do a simulation, a financial simulation. So it varies slightly, but generally the idea is to apply the knowledge and skills you've gained throughout the program to solve real world problems.
Okay, so that's one of the group projects as well. Oh, thank you very much. Another question? Do we have another question? Curtis Moxham is asking, can you shed more light on how exams will be conducted electronically? Dr. Graham, I'm going to ask you again.
So currently, what we have, Curtis, is that, again, for various courses, it may vary slightly. So some courses have what we have three basic styles of examinations. We have kind of multiple choice or multiple choice with a short answer. And in terms of online examinations, typically we open it for a particular number of hours. If it's a 3-hour exam, typically about 3.5 to 4 hours, and we administer it in that format. Some lecturers decide to do a longer, exam for a longer duration. For example, like a case study style examination, it may be longer than 3 to 4 hours. So it varies, but it's done where you go into the, I think Dr. Mike Norton and I spoke to the MSBM learning space. You go online, typically download what the exam is or fill in the exam if it's a short answer and then submit it. The university is speaking about going back to even with the online teaching, they're trying to accelerate maybe the face-to-face sitting of examinations. So we'd have to update you on that as I said, as we watch what is happening at this time.
Okay, thank you. Just to mention that some persons would have downloaded the program for today's session. So you would have seen coming after Miss Reed, Mrs. Vanda Levy Macmillan, who is an academic counselor. She should have made a presentation. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here, but the presentation, you will get that during the session that I mentioned, the gloss session on Thursday, August 12th. So just in case some persons may be confused if you're looking at the actual program that we had. So we will take one more question as we try to wrap up, to be true to our word. So let's see that. Was that a question being projected from Rashida? So Rashida Campbell, is the commitment fee applied to the tuition? I'll ask Ms. Reed to take that, please.
Yes, Rashida, the commitment fee is applied to your tuition fee. And that is why it's important for you to send us the confirmation of your payment, whether it was made to the university or sent to Mona School of Business his account. Please send us the confirmation so we can apply that to your account as soon as it is received and the system is open for you to register.
Okay, Ms. Reed, thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, and by now, as we said at the beginning, we are welcoming you to the MSBM family. So we're no longer strangers, but we are family. So we thank you so much for spending all of this time with us this evening, for having come to find out more about the programs, find out more about the school. We hope that the information that we provided has been useful so far. And let me just remind you that we have several other sessions which are more geared towards getting more detailed information. So we begin tomorrow. We have the tuition financing session at 6. You would have received the link for that already, where we'll have members from our accounting unit as well as representatives from 2 financial institutions, where you can get some of the details answered. And then starting on Wednesday, we have program-specific sessions. So if you're doing MSc Accounting or the MBA, MSc Corporate Finance, whatever, you have that the schedule there. The links will be sent to you in good time so that you can join those sessions and get specific questions answered. Again, we remind you to follow us on social media so that you can be kept abreast of all that is happening at MSBM. And Dr. McNaughton mentioned the app, download the app. And of course, you're on YouTube now, so we remind you to just hit that subscribe button so that you can be always getting the information, knowing when we're having various events, etc. So as we said, this is but the beginning of a journey. It may seem very daunting at this point, but our commitment to you is that we will do all that is in our power to support you along the way. And I know I speak also on behalf of Ms. Bennett, the Office of Graduate Studies and Research as well, to be here as a part of the support system to encourage you as you go on. So thank you so much. You have been a great audience, very participative, and we look forward to engaging with you in all the other sessions that we have planned. Thank you so much.
Thank you and night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.